vanishing folklore and beliefs. The Man Who Would Become a Pig, from Korean Folktales circa 1913, collected by Léamh, public domain reading. A certain minister of state called Kim Yu, living in the county of Sungpyeong, had a relative who resided in a far distant part of the country, an old man aged nearly 100 years. On a certain day, a son of this patriarch came to the office of the minister and asked to see him. Kim ordered him to be admitted and inquired as to why he had come. Said he, "I have something very important to say, a private matter to lay before your excellency. There are so many guests with you now that I'll come again in the evening and tell it." In the evening, when all had departed, he came, and the minister ordered out his personal retainers and asked the meaning of the call. The man replied, saying, "My father, though very old, was, as you perhaps know, a strong and hearty man. On a certain day he called us children to him and said, 'I wish to have a long rest. So now close the door and all of you go out of this room. Do not let anyone venture in till I call you.' We children agreed, of course, and did so. Till late at night there was neither call nor command to open the door, so that we began to get anxious. We at last looked through a crack in the door, and lo, there was our father, changed into a huge wild boar. Terrified by the sight of this wild pig, we opened the door and looked in, when the pig grunted and growled and made a rush to get out past us. We hurriedly closed the door again and held a consultation. Some said, 'Let us keep the pig just as it is, within our doors, and care for it.' Others said, 'Let us have a funeral and bury it.' We ignorant folk, not knowing just what to do under such peculiar circumstances, I have come to ask counsel of your excellency. Please think over this startling phenomenon and tell us what we ought to do." Prince Kim, hearing this, gave a great start, thought it over for a long time, and at last said, "No such mysterious thing was ever heard of before, and I really don't know what is best to do under the circumstances. But still it seems to me that since this metamorphosis has come about, you had better not bury it before death, so you should give up on the funeral idea. However, since too it is no longer human, I do not think it is right to keep it in the house. You say that it wants to make its escape, and as a cave in the wood or hills is the proper abode of a wild pig, I think you had better take it out and let it go free into the trackless depths of some mountainous terrain where no foot of man has ever trod." The son accepted this wise counsel, and did just as the minister advised. He took it away into the deep mountains and let it free. The son then donned a sackcloth. He mourned. He buried his father's clothes for the funeral, and he observed the day of metamorphosis as the day of a sacrificial ceremony. Léamh. If you enjoyed this reading, take a moment and click the subscribe button. Thank you very much for listening. Vanishing folklore